I'd like to know what turned Jonathan Loiza's season around. In the second half, he's been very good, and I'd like to know what turned it around.
Well, he just got off to a little bit of a slow start and then had the shoulder impingement. So once he got that out of there, I think he just came back and started pitching the way he's very much capable of. You know, we saw it all year last year. He was one of the dominant relievers in the league. So, you know, I think it was kind of a short sample at the start where he was scuffling a little bit. But we also felt like, you know, it was a matter of time before he would turn that around. And then once he got through the injury, you know, he really started pitching well for us.
How good is it to know that, considering all the injuries you got in the bullpen, that's one guy you can rely on?
I mean, it's huge. He's a great pitcher. And, you know, as we've talked about a lot, you know, I know people feel like we have a lot of questions down there. Fair. We don't have the, you know, this guy's the closer in all these certain roles, but I do feel like right now, even though we've experienced some attrition down there, that we have a lot of really talented options down there, and Lowe's right in the middle of that. And if we're going to get far in this, he's going to have to get a lot of big outs for us.
Second row on your right.
As a former hitter yourself, when there's a pitcher on the mound like Nestor who can disrupt timing, change arm slots within an at-bat, how much more difficult does hitting become when you don't know what's coming?
Yeah, I mean that's always the first thing people talk about with Nestor, but I still think that takes away how good a pitcher he is, because in reality he does those things as a one-off now and then. You know, he may do that 2, 3, 4 times in a 100-pitch outing, whereas the most part he's very traditional, and what he does is he executes. His fastball plays up. For me as a right-handed hitter, his ability to cut the ball and really have a real presence on the inside part of the plate, but then, you know, be able to go away and use both sides of the plate to keep you honest. You know, he'll slow you down with the slider. I feel like his changeup has become a little bit more of a factor as the year's gone on. But, you know, I think Nestor's success is more a product of stuff, and then commanding both sides of the plate, and then having, you know, a fearless way about him on the mound.
You also mentioned the other day that you were leaning toward using a 3-man starting rotation with the possibility of rain tomorrow. Would that change anything with your plans as far as the starting rotation goes?
Well, depending on how long the series goes, it would have to. Yeah.
And the third row on your left.
Are you concerned that you may have to play 4 games in a row, and how would that factor in not only the starting lineup but in the pitching rotation?
Well, I mean, it would probably affect the pitching rotation if you went 5 games and you had to play 4 in a row, sure. The lineup, no, I mean, we play. It's what you do is in baseball is you play every day, so shouldn't affect that. You know, that's more who we're going up against, matchups, things like that. But pitching, it excuse me, could change a little bit what you do.
Brian, up front on your left.
You talked about the legend of Nasty Nestor a lot this year. What do you think it is about him that draws the fans to him, that makes him so appealing?
I think his personality. He looks like you and I. You know, you feel like you can relate to him. Feel like you could probably do what he does. You can't, but you know, I mean, he in a lot of ways was an underdog, was a low round pick that wasn't a prospect necessarily, that's kind of found his way to, you know, being an all-star pitcher. So that, I think, story people can get behind. You know, he's got a way about him when he pitches, as far as I think everyone gets that competitive, fearless. He's out there playing a game and having fun like you designed it. He lives that. And then I think, I think people then the little things he does with his delivery from time to time, people can rally around that. So I think he's just very relatable.
And we'll stay here with Laura.
Nestor said he would be comfortable pitching Friday if there was rain and then even potentially pitching Game 5. Is that something that you would consider?
I would consider him being an option in that kind of scenario. How much you'd have him there. But with this team, they're lefties and stuff. For if you had him in an inning scenario, a couple inning scenario, that would be pretty valuable. But if he goes Friday, hopefully we're not in a Game 5 situation. But if we are, we'll see. I mean, he would maybe be in play, but I wouldn't not necessarily as a traditional starter.
First row on your right, Meredith.
Kind of to piggyback off of Brian's question, Nestor was in here not too long ago, and he said every time he goes out there, he tries to make it like it's the last time he's going to pitch, approach it like it's the last time he's going to pitch. How do you just kind of describe his demeanor on the mound and that edge that he pitches with?
Yeah, I mean, I think he combines all those things as far as, he's had to scratch and claw for everything he's gotten. He's risen from the ranks of non-prospect to prospect to, when he first started coming up with us, it was, kind of on the shuttle, bulk out of the pen, spot start here. And all along the way, he's continued to become more and more of a polished, better pitcher. And then I think he combines that. I'm going to treat this like the last game I may ever pitch. He's competitive as heck, but he has a lot of fun doing what he's doing. And I think it's a real. I think people can learn a lot from Nestor about the way he goes about things. Like this is the highest league in the land. Now you're in the playoffs. You're on the biggest stage, and he just has a way of, and I think it simplifies it, is he's super competitive, but he knows how to have fun playing the game. And I think sometimes you can lose that fun part of it when you're playing at this level, and that's important to have.
We'll stay there with Eric.
Aaron, what does it say about his regular season that he was able to put himself even under consideration to start Game 1?
I mean, he was an all-star the whole year, and I think you go back to the second half of more than the second half of last year. When he entered the rotation last year, he pitched like an all-star. So this has been, this has been going on for about 16 months now, where he's been one of the best pitchers in the league. So, yeah, I mean, he's put himself. You always feel good now about handing the ball to Nestor.
And then what are the challenges of facing Bieber?
Great command. We've seen his fastball velocity tick up a little bit as the season's gone on. He's not necessarily overpowering in that manner, but you watch his delivery and his arm stroke, so he creates deception. Which I think allows his stuff to play up, but then, he can really command it at an elite level. So, he's one of the best pitchers in the league for a reason, and I think it starts with really having elite command.
Bruce.
Aaron, what is it like getting the first one? And do you think it sets the tone or can set the tone for a series and even the whole postseason?
Well, I mean, you always hope that, but we also, and whether we won or lost yesterday, we're in the turn the page business. This is, you enjoy that. A playoff victory is, a big deal, and especially in Game 1 of a series, to grab it is big. But today it's you move on from it, and we got to work out today, and now it's on to the next one, and series playoffs can go all sorts of different ways. You try and rack up wins as you can.
And Ron will stay there. On your right. Ron.
Did you have a chance to review the Donaldson fly ball and your thoughts on the play?
Weird play. He thought it went over the fence. We're shaking hands at first. The music goes off. I think just a weird play.
Any need to discuss?
No.
No. Okay.
In the second row on your left.
Thinking back to that Oswaldo Cabrera catch last night in the 4th inning, what did you see on that play? Were you expecting him to make it all the way in foul territory with the fans right there like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have the perfect view of that play, so I can, down that left field line, I'm right in line from where I stand. So, I'm as that ball's going up there, I'm with a slice on it. I'm feeling like he's got a chance at this ball. Felt like he approached it really well, was very much under control. Then you never know how the crowd comes into play and things like that. So just a really under control play and, more of the same of what we've seen ever since we brought him up.
And second row, we'll do 2 more. Second row on your right, Greg.
Just how different of a feel is there this year with the defense that you guys have out there? I know it's been a trend all year, but just pretty staggering from last year to this year, the improvements you guys have made.
Yeah, no question. And yesterday we get off to a little bit of a slow start. We make an error there in the first inning. And as that game unfolded, I think you really saw our defense kind of take over and show what they've shown all year. Such an important part of the game. JD makes a couple good plays over there at third. Rizzo was great all night. Obviously the plays in the outfield, but that's who they are and what we're capable of. And, if we're going to get to where we want to go, it's going to be an important ingredient.
I'll finish up on the third row on your right.
Before this season, Oswaldo Cabrera had played over 500 minor league games in the infield and had only played 1 game in left field before you guys called him up. I'm curious, what about him specifically made the organization trust that this 23-year-old kid with almost zero experience in a corner outfield spot would be able to kind of be up to the task in October in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah. All right. Well, we love his makeup. So in spring training, we felt like if we ever, if we had a need in that kind of utility type guy at any point in the season, even though he hadn't experienced even a ton of AAA yet at that point, just his makeup suggests that, this guy's going to be able to handle this. Then he had injury during the year, so missed some time, and when he came back, he started playing really well. Didn't play a ton of outfield, but did some work out there. So it was a little bit of, let's do it. When he got up here, and the need all of a sudden arose for a right field start, it was like, player development felt like he would be able to handle it. Myself and our staff, again, going back to what we think of his makeup, felt like he's not going to be overwhelmed by this, even though it may not be perfect. And, he goes out in that first game, I think it's the first or second inning, and robs a home run, makes a great play. I remember going to the foul line and is in right field, makes a play. Then the need arose in left field, and we're thinking, okay, it's left field in Yankee Stadium. What's that going to look like? And it's been like more of the same. Like, credit to him. He's very mature. He's a very confident baseball player. He works really hard. He processes information really well. You've seen that, I think, offensively too. I feel like he's made really good adjustments as these couple months have unfolded. He's just a really good player, and he plays the game with a lot of confidence, with a little bit of a swagger to him, and he's a really good worker too. Like he gets after it, and it's not afraid.
But that decision to have him try that out is not something you would have done with every guy in the minor league.
No.
That's something that's specific to him.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things is, because he hasn't played a lot of infield. Like, this is a really talented infielder. This guy can defensively really play the infield, all spots. I think there was some comfort in knowing that he had at least done a fair amount of work in the outfield, even though it wasn't a lot of game reps. And the feeling was that he moves naturally out there and things like that. But yeah, then it was the makeup of saying, let's rip the Band-Aid and put him out there, and the rest is history.
Aaron, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.